Hey boys and girls, I am so glad you guys decided to join us today for Kids Church. We have a brand new theme this month, and it's going to be so exciting. Are you guys looking at me funny? I have a guest with me today. This is Lily, and she's going to help me with this whole thing today. So, today, our theme is on obedience. And obedience is trusting those who lead you by doing what you're asked to do. Obedience. Do you think Lily obeys very well? We'll find out. So, let's sit back and watch and listen to what Lindsay has to say.
Hey everybody, my name is Lindsay and I'm here to show you some weird science. I love to do crazy experiments so I can learn how things work. Today, I'm going to show you an experiment I like to call the bag that wouldn't leak. Now, I've never done this experiment before, but I've seen it done lots of times. Plus, my professor sent me step-by-step instructions to follow. So, here it goes. Step 1, gather the supplies. Now, for this experiment, we're going to need a sharpened pencil. Ow! Yeah, that's pretty sharp. And a zipper lock bag filled with water. Okay, let's fill this bad boy up. Now, I should be able to stick this pencil into this bag of water and no water will come out if I do it right and follow my professor's instructions. Shouldn't be too hard. My professor's very smart. She knows science better than anyone I know. So obedience is the key here. Obedience is trusting those who lead you by doing what you're asked to do. So let's see what the professor says to do next. Step 2, take the pencil and slowly and steadily insert it into the bag of water. I think my professor may have a typo here. Slowly and steadily. She must have meant as hard and quick as you can. I mean, if I slowly stick a pencil through this bag, the water will spill all over the place. But if I can be quick about it, I can get the pencil through before the bag even notices it's been stuck. That's science. So, should I do it the way my professor said, or should I do it the better way? My way. I'm not sure. Maybe I should take some time to sneak attack. Today's story is about the first people in the world who chose to do things their way instead of following the instructions. Things didn't go so well for them either. Refreshing.
Lindsay had a hard time listening to and doing what her teacher told her to, didn't she? She wouldn't have had nearly the mess, probably, if she had listened to what the teacher said. Well, that can happen to all of us. Sometimes we think our way is better, and that's our main point today. Today it says, I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. So, we're going to get up and sing some songs and let's praise God. So everybody, that includes me, everybody up.
What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you are Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Wow, those songs were great. And you guys all did such a good job. Give yourself a hand. Good job, guys. All right, now let's go ahead and have a seat because we're going to go right into the Bible story. And today's story is about two special people that God created, and they're called Adam and Eve. And He loved them so much, but they didn't listen. They disobeyed God. And let's see what happens because of that. Everybody sitting? Everybody's got their ears going? Lily does. All right.
And now for an amazing true story from the book of Genesis. Chapters 1 through 4.
In the beginning, before the beginning, God was. Nothing else existed, not even the tiniest glow of color or the smallest speck of stardust. Then God called out and created light. By the sound of his voice, he rolled out the waters and threw back the sky. He formed the plants, fish, and animals with nothing but a few words. And God saw that it was good. Then God got down in the mud. He shaped the dirt into a person and breathed life into his lungs. God looked at that very first man, Adam, and said, "It's not good for him to be alone. I'll make a helper who is just right for him." So God took one of Adam's ribs and formed the first woman, Eve. God looked at the people he created and saw that they were very good. God had planted a beautiful garden filled with swift flowing rivers, amazing plants, and tasty things to eat. "Let's have corn on the cob with strawberry pie." God placed Adam and Eve in the garden as their home. They could go anywhere and do anything they wanted. There was only one rule to keep them safe, and God had given it to Adam. "You may eat fruit from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you do, you will certainly die." Adam stared up at the tall tree in the center of the garden. Its beautiful, ripe fruit seemed to glow in the sunlight. "It does look tasty, but I definitely don't want to, what's that thing you said? Die." Adam and Eve loved their new home, riding horses along the banks of the Euphrates River and feeding bits of honey cakes to the birds and foxes. The horses neigh, the birds sing. What does the fox say? There was nothing at all they needed, except dessert, of course. "Let's go pick some figs." On their way to the fig trees, though, Adam and Eve passed right by the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The beautiful fruit swayed gently in the evening breeze, when suddenly they both jumped back. A vivid green serpent coiled along the branch, hovering over the fruit. "Such a sweet dessert." "Oh, no, I'm just looking. God said we can't eat this fruit. If we even touch it, what is that thing? We'll die." "Certainly not so." "But God said." "God knows if you sample this fruit, you'll know new things, just like God." The fruit looked so glossy, Eve couldn't help reaching out her hand again. She almost touched it. "You mean it would make me smart? Smart?" "Wise, like God." Eve turned to Adam. "Well, that would be a good thing, right?" Adam's eyes were fixed on the juicy fruit, too. "Seems like it." "What if God is just keeping us from something good?" "You're missing out." Eve grasped the fruit and took a big, juicy bite. "What's it like? Do you feel different? Hey, do you think that..." "Here." Eve handed the fruit to Adam, and he took a bite too. Oh. Adam and Eve hardly even noticed the taste of the fruit because new and terrible thoughts and feelings began to flood over them. For the first time ever, they knew what it was like to feel guilty and ashamed. And for the first time ever, they also realized something else. "Adam, we didn't. We're not. We should cover ourselves up." "With what?" Eve glanced around. The fig trees. We'll use leaves." Adam and Eve pieced together fig leaves to cover themselves, but before they even finished, they heard a rustling and a swaying in the garden. The animals sang and called out in joy. "It's him! It's God!" "Quick, hide!" Adam and Eve ducked behind the largest fig tree. "Where are you?" Adam didn't say a word. Eve jabbed him in the ribs with her elbow. "Say something! You were the one who wanted to hide!" Adam glared, but spoke up anyway. "I heard you, and I was afraid because I wasn't wearing clothes. So I hid." "Who said you weren't wearing anything? Have you eaten fruit from the tree I commanded you not to?" You see, it's not my fault. It's that woman you put here. She gave me the fruit. Eve jabbed Adam in the side again. Eve, what have you done? It's not my fault. The serpent tricked me. God's heart was saddened. Adam and Eve had chosen to do what they wanted instead of trusting God. They had broken his only rule, one meant to keep them safe. And though God still loved them, Adam and Eve had shattered their perfect friendship with him. You must leave the garden. From now on, you will work hard for your food and face great pain. Someday, you will die and become like the dust you were made from. Adam and Eve had chosen their own path instead of obeying God. Sin entered the world. Now they would have to struggle in the heat and the dust to grow the food that had come so easily in the garden. Adam and Eve's sons argued and did terrible things to each other. Because of Adam and Eve's choice, sin spread to their children's children and their children until people's hearts everywhere were filled with evil thoughts and the desire to please themselves instead of loving and obeying God. And only a miracle from God would save them.
That was a great Bible story, and how important it is for us to listen to God. Adam and Eve chose to disobey God, but we can make the choice to obey God. And all month long, we will be talking about obedience and how we can listen to God, listen to those in authority above us, and do what we're asked to do. So remember our main point, obedience, trusting those who lead you by doing what you are asked to do. That is obedience. Today, we're talking about how Lily does not obey. Let me show you a video to prove this point. Hang on just a minute.
Hey, Lily, it's dinner time. Come on, Lily, it's dinner time. Oh, you came good. Lily, you're gonna miss out on dinner. Come on, Lily, it's dinner time.
Lily was pretty silly, wasn't she? She didn't think that she wanted to eat dinner. She was headed the other way. My dog, Luke, he was ready for dinner, but Lily was going her own way. So our main point today says, I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. Well, Lily definitely thought her way was better, but because of that, she missed out on her dinner. Boys and girls, God has great things for us planned, but we need to listen. We need to obey. And by doing that, He will bless us so much. Boys and girls, what's our main point today? Let's say it together one more time. Ready? I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. Adam and Eve learned their way wasn't better. God's way was. And that's what we need to do too. We need to follow God. Boys and girls, let's listen to what Lindsay has to say, because she's going to find out how it is important to listen to what the teacher says.
If you're like me, you know everything. Or at least you think you do. You always think your way of doing things is the right way, the fastest way, the best way. But the truth is, you and I have a lot to learn. And learning takes time. You can't just eat a piece of fruit and know all the secrets of the universe. Lucky for us, God has put people into our lives to help us. People like our parents and grandparents, our teachers, and our leaders. People who've been around longer and who've had time to learn more than we've learned. So when one of those people tells you to do something, even if it's not your fastest, best way, try listening to them. A lot of the time, you'll find they know what they're talking about. Plus, when you obey the people in charge, It shows them you trust them and that you have respect for them. And since God's the one that put them there, obeying them shows how much you trust and respect God too. So here's the one thing to remember today. I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. So let's try this experiment again. Slow and steady this time, like my professor said. Hey, it doesn't leak. What do you know? Let's try another. Yes! Oh, I could do this all day.
Lindsay did learn from her professor, didn't she? And she learned that if she followed the instructions he gave her, the experiment would work, and it was really cool. So boys and girls, like Lindsay said, God has given us people in authority above us to help us, to guide us. And when we listen to them and we obey them, like she said, we trust them, obey, and then we're trusting and obeying God. So that's what we need to do this week. Remember to obey the people that God has put in authority over you. So like our main point says, I should trust and obey even when I think my way is better. All right, guys, have a great week. Say bye, Lily. She's not obeying too well, is she? Bye, guys.